welcome to the, I don't know which race in this series, but the Herd Summer Racing League. We are on the Casse Pattes course today, which is I don't actually have that up. It's the big loop around France. We go through the Marina Sprint, the Pavé Sprint, the Aqueduct KOM, although also a sprint, and the Petit KOM, and it will be 2 laps. The course is 23 kilometers, 14.3 miles with 145 meters or 476 feet of climbing. And we have the Ds out on course, but have been unable to get a camera on them. So we will be joining in with the Cs in a minute here. We've got Jeff Aldrich joining us.
Howdy.
As well as Craig running the difficult cameras. And I think Nate Holm will be joining us from on course today.
Crazy person.
I'm here, just not riding.
Oh, you're not actually riding today?
No, not today.
Oh, then great. Then we've got Nate in the booth as well.
I was going to be impressed, but now I'm not. So I'm following Paul Lutman from the Herd in the D race. They're up the road a bit. He did a really nice job just to catch you up on what you missed of tail gunning the first Marina Sprint and took first according to the leaderboards. So he's just hanging with the front group and mostly doing a nice job of keeping his nose out of the wind. But of course, as soon as I say that, he goes to the front.
And it looks... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say the C's are just on their way and just about to hit that first segment. So looks quite a big crowd tonight. I mean, it's I think it's getting close to that HSRL season, people coming back on Zwift. So the numbers seem to be jumping back up again.
How many do we have in that C pen, the C group?
It says 30.
Oh, nice.
Which is big for Friday night.
I've got 11 in the D pen, looks like.
And then I saw 17 on D's at least signed up, but it's bigger than usual. So C's are just hitting it. I'm following Dennis right now, and there's a few others that are... Terry, really nice there. Yep. Terry, I think, gets the fastest. Dennis gets 4th. I think Jamie got 3rd there. So some solid sprinting there by the Herd for sure.
Good job, Jamie.
Yeah, she got 3rd, 14:01, which is pretty nice time for that sprint. Terry got 13:71.
It looks like friend of the broadcast, Guy DeBell, has done a pretty good sprint there as well.
Yeah, 14:10 just behind Dennis and Fish. So I mean, it's
lots of BRs.
Yeah, looks to be a solid group tonight. I mean, again, it's showing 30 in the course, but I don't know how. I'm sure that's a couple of people in the pen that haven't started, including me. So we'll see how many are actually on course. But yeah, should be a good little battle in the seas tonight for sure.
So far, all the Ds are together, except they dropped one person off the back about 30 seconds back. So otherwise, they're just taking it easy, noodling around until they get to the next sprint.
According to Zwift Power, there are 16 riders on course in the Cs, at least in that main bunch, although it looks a little bigger just looking at the broadcast. Possible that some of those are not on Zwift Power.
Yeah, we still got that lovely kind of conundrum that how many have actually signed up for Zwift Power are in the official results, as we would say.
So, if you've raced this course, you know that first sprint comes up very quickly out of the pens about a kilometer into the race. And then we've got about another 10 plus kilometers until the next sprint comes up, the Pavé Sprint. So just a nice long, flat section of 10 kilometers looks like nobody's going to be pushing along the coast here. But then things come up pretty quickly. We've got that Pavé Sprint, quickly followed by rollers up to the Aqueduct KOM. A little couple miles or couple kilometers of flat until we hit the Petit KOM, and then do it all over again.
I'm assuming everything should stay together until we get to the Petit KOM. That might blow the race apart a bit.
You always lose a couple of people on the Aqueduct, but yeah, that's usually
the D's are just rolling along at 130 to 150 and just chilling out and going for a nice ride in the country at this point.
Yeah, this one always does turn into a nice little slow group ride.
Yeah, I watched the one earlier, and it's amazing like how the groups actually do come together. There's so much kind of space in between segments, so you just got to kind of find a group, stick with it, catch some B's coming through later if you do get dropped, and it will surprise you how the group's going to come back together later in the race.
Yeah, so when did the groups come together? When did the C's catch the D's? When did the B's catch the C's?
D's actually got caught pretty quickly in the first race today. I can't remember exactly, but I was kind of quite shocked how quickly the C's kind of gulped them up. But again, it was a big C pack to a small D pack, so that does make a big difference in terms of group pace. And again, with all that flat and just wattage of the C's early on, they're putting power down, then kind of close them down a bit. But B's roughly this section right now that the C's are on, like a lap ahead, that's roughly where they caught them, I think, just before. Just a little bit further on, I think over like the second cobbled bridge, but they kind of all came together before the Pavé Sprint, and then
Gotcha.
The B.
So the B's are actually coming into the Marina Sprint now. Sorry to cut you off there. I don't know who we are following in the. Looks like still just Dennis, but the B's. Whoa, D Manalo, 16 watts a kilo off the front there. Alan Bray following along with the main bunch. But it looks like Manalo did a 13:05.
Good grief. As a D racer, I can only hope to ever achieve those numbers.
16 watts a kilo is no joke.
That's DeWalt territory. I just want to see an orange number next to her name at some point. So the D's are still just chilling out, doing their thing. Oh, they've sped up a little bit, as a little bit of a rise, and a couple people have sped up a bit, but I think it's going to all come back together. At this point, Paul is doing a nice job. He's sitting the second wheel and trying to keep his nose out of the wind most of the time. So smart racing so far.
Great, and it looks like on the stream we've got Paul Lutman up on the stream, as well as Dennis Wade in the C's and Alan Bray in the B's. Alan got the 7th fastest time in that B sprint.
I mean, again, I'm just looking at the D's right now, and it looks as though, again, the C group's already got 95 seconds on that D group within 7 kilometers. And that's not even 7 kilometers for the C's, so... Again, I think a big flat race like this where there's so much downtime between segments, and again, the D's are doing their thing and kind of chilling, which again, you don't blame them. That just bigger C group's going to kind of swamp them up.
What'll be interesting to see if any of the D's can catch onto the C train and catch a draft for a while and gap the rest of the field.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's tricky, the Aqueduct for sure is going to be a splitter for the D's, and for the D's to try and match that power on the Aqueduct is it's not impossible, but it's a big effort for them. And then again, you've got that. But if you stick on just catch, I mean, I think they'll be fine for that. To be honest, I think it's 3:20. Again, it is coming down quick, but I think they get up and over the aqueduct before they get caught, and then maybe a little toe into the lower segment of Petit KOM, just gives them a little bit of gap on people that didn't quite jump on, if that's where the catch is going to happen. But again, this is quite a nice size D group, so again, they'll kind of work together and they'll have a nice quick draft effect. But again, they're going about 35 kph right now, and again, I'll be guessing the C's are going close to 40. So that 5 kilometers an hour difference on a flat course is a huge difference.
Yeah, it looks like the C's are trucking along at 38, 39, and the B's are up in the low 40s generally.
D's are right around 33 to 35, depending here. If somebody's working a little bit.
Yeah, C's are not too far actually behind, so, but again, just still that momentum that C pack's going to have. I think this Zwift kind of dynamics just keeps that rolling speed going down the hills. I mean,
yep. Alan says in the chat, wasn't trying at that first sprint, he got 7th.
I'd almost say there's no reason not to try on that one. You've got a really long time to recover before the next one.
And if you've got any decent warm up, you should be fresh enough to be able to take a shot at that one.
Yeah.
And Craig, just that one does count for the points, correct?
Yes.
But the third time the finish sprint does not.
That's right.
Correct.
that's with weirdness that sprints and finish lines don't mix.
Yeah.
although it works for KOM, so no idea what's wrong with the algorithm that Zwift's sprints and finish lines are getting complicated.
Yeah. Just got a message from Terry Leduc while he's in here. So he's quite happy that he's gotten his herd racing kit. So
very nice.
Yeah.
He's rocking the red today.
Rocking the red. So looks like in the A's, Bobby Edwards, I believe, looks like he won that time, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like he's the only one who really gave it a good go.
Yep.
And did a 12.8.
Yes. That's quick.
Very quick.
Yeah, so looks like Stuart Lynn is in that group as well. I wasn't sure if he was going to ride or not when I first started fan viewing. He was the last second to join the pen, I think.
Yeah, he shows up on Zwift Power, so he should be there.
Oh no, he's there. It's just the he typically joins the pen late.
Tail gunning the pen. That's a whole new tactic. I used to do that in TTT just to make sure that if I accidentally pedaled or some such thing, I wouldn't roll over the line accidentally.
Yeah.
There's definitely some glitches in the new TTT module with the conveyor belts. We had some really interesting behavior last night.
But you did race that yesterday?
Yeah, I raced with the Roadrunners, and we had a good race. Although one of our guys literally U-turned immediately when our start time hit, went backwards out the back of the pen, then U-turned again, not with any input from him, came out of the pen, and then turned the wrong way, so that he couldn't even catch up with us. So,
holy cow! The A's are absolutely kicking each other here.
wow.
we're in the 3rd kilometer, and Bobby's hitting 7.5 watts per kilogram to try and keep up here.
Looks like Stewart is already off the back.
Yeah, Stewart's gone. I think Bobby is on the group, but wow, that was quite the attack.
That seems awfully early with a lot of flat ahead of you to do that. What would be the rationale for that?
So they might have been trying to get rid of Bobby after he won the first sprint.
Oh.
And they almost did.
How many went?
Bobby almost got dropped. So.
By the whole rest of the field?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. No,
they were pushing hard at the front.
Yep.
Good job by him to get back on. Stick with him.
And now the question is whether Stewart, with a 10-second gap to that group already, is just going to
he doesn't have a chance. That's the problem with this. That's a problem with this course. Once you're off the back of a group, you have absolutely no chance. Groups go so fast on this flat. Unless the group absolutely sets up, and even then, it's tough.
And they are not.
No,
they're still pushing over 4.
The guy on front, I think, has been up over 5 quite regularly here.
So I believe, here we go. I think some of the D's are starting to get caught here by the C's. It might just be a solo. I think it is. Yeah, it is. But the rest of the pack are. Yeah, actually, the rest of the pack's just about to hit the Pavé Sprint, so there's still a couple of kilometers ahead. But
yeah,
it's about a 2-minute gap now.
Looks like Paul is beating back and looking to tail gun this sprint again.
Yeah.
There they go. They hit the line, and Paul picks up the pace. He's powering through. But he's going to be through these guys pretty quick and have no one. Now let's see if somebody else drafts him and goes over the top. Yep, there he goes.
Looks like three of them going for the sprint.
Yep, Paul might have gone a little too soon and got his nose in the wind, and the other two just drafted and ran by him. But a solid 3rd place for him, looks like.
Well, I don't know. He was the last guy across the line, so.
Yep, you got second.
Yep, that's it.
Second FTS.
That's good. That's good.
Yep. So that's first and second on the first 2 sprints for Paul. Good job. And now settling down to under 100 watts just to recover. There you go.
I'd say at this point, you don't want to put any effort in to stay ahead of that group. You want the bigger group. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You got to recover for the Aqueduct KOM sprint.
Yep.
We call it a sprint to the mountain. SOM.
So I think the C's are coming into the sprint now.
It does come up pretty quickly. I think it's about a kilometer of rest in between those.
Yep, C's are hitting the line right now.
According to the profile, it looks like it's a little more like 2 kilometers, but
okay.
Not much.
Dennis got a nice lead at the moment. There are riders coming through, though, so... Yep, a couple came through.
Terry and Jamie both sprinting really well, too.
Dennis 6th there, Terry solid 2nd. Wow, really good sprint.
And Jamie 5th.
Yep.
Nice. Good done.
David Kane, who's been a regular on the Friday nights, solid 4th.
Yep.
But then he got that lovely recovery to quickly kind of catch their breath and then hit the next segment hard. I mean, it's about 35, 38 second sprint, really, for the C's anyway.
Looks like the C's are within a kilometer of the D's now, so they're going to catch probably either on the Aqueduct or just after.
I think they'll catch on the other side, and then it's all about momentum of that sprint for sure. On the C's, it caused a split of about 3-4 seconds, and again, the kind of crazy thing here is the catching group will chase, but they put in a big effort to catch just before the Aqueduct, and then they've got to recover from that effort of catching to go again. So
yeah, you're better off putting in the big sprint, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean if you do to do that, and this course is a killer for that. If you in a few sections for sure, if you don't catch on, and
the D's have hit the foothills of the Aqueduct up. They're just starting the Aqueduct climb now. They just crossed the start line. They're spreading out a bit. Someone's got up the road, and they're a little split. Looks like D. Mitchell has gone up the road. Don't know, but Paul's putting in a really good catch. Oh, he's just blowing by him. Nice job. See if he can finish it off. Around about 5 watts per kilogram.
Looks like a couple riders going just as hard behind, so hopefully he needs to finish strong across the flat bit here.
Yep. He's got to maintain this momentum and get the momentum going. The guys behind him are starting to drop off to around 3 to 4, and he's up around 4.5 still, so it looks like he's going to hang on to get the first across the line, probably the fastest through. We'll see.
Yeah, remembering that there are no points for first across the line.
Yes, exactly. It makes you feel good, though.
Just started.
So he PR'd, Paul PR'd that climb at 46.88 and won it. The next one was JU at 48.53.
so the C's are kind of attacking it, but again, they're going to go through. They might go for get through it as a group and then sprint it.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of pushing evenly at the front. And they're just gonna wait, and I'll put in the attack on the flatter bit.
Yeah, that's what they've done, which is definitely not the usual way of doing it, because if you do it that way, it allows the sprinters a bit more of a... But again, obviously, some of that group were chasing...
Yeah, everybody's tired.
I mean, I've got to say, I mean, nothing against this group, but 46 seconds is a slow time in the C's for the Aqueduct, so
yeah,
they definitely... I mean, it's tough. You got that hard section of the sprint, and then to recover, and then half the group didn't sprint, so then they had to do that big effort. So it's almost
this is going to be in over an hour and 20 minute.
Oh no, for sure. Sure. I mean, I'm not knocking it whatsoever, but it's nobody really attacked the effort, so it was like kind of ceasefire, knowing what's ahead. Just thought, you know what? If everyone's doing that, then I'll just hang off and then just trying to sprint a little bit at the end to try and nip a few places, but knowing that, again, you got a couple of K recovery, and then you've got the the Petit KOM, which is really the main split point. So
B's are coming through their Pavé Sprint. Alan putting in a good effort this time. So Manalo, again, well off the front. Craig Brackens as well. But looks like Alan's going to be in that top 5 or 6. Looks like he's got the 6th fastest time.
Excellent.
In the D race, Paul finds himself with 2 other riders now with a 6-second gap back to the next bunch. So these 3 are going to try and power through and maintain that, or they're going to sit up and wait for the rest of the riders to come back to them. Well,
I mean, they're sitting at between 1.5 and 1.7. I don't know that they can sit up a whole lot more. The other guys just aren't catching them.
Well, I think actually what they got to be careful of is the C's are just about to catch those people that are just off, and again, if those front D's are not watching their mini map and not seeing that the C's are coming, then that front group could actually get swamped pretty quickly. And that's easily done in Zwift. Again, it's the advantage here actually is to those couple of riders just off the bat, because they'll see it first, be able to hang on, and then is, does any of the front group get caught off guard?
So just looking in the chat, it looks like perhaps Stuart Lynn got popped off of the A group due to a pairing screen mishap.
Oh, that stinks.
Oh,
Acme's weirdness strikes again.
yeah, and at the absolute, and he's right, at the absolute wrong time, because that is, there was a big attack put in right then too. Just, I don't know whether the attack happened because somebody saw his power go to 0 to take advantage, or whether it was just that unlucky.
So 4th D has managed to make it up, bridged up to the front group, and they're trying to move ahead, but they're getting caught by the Bs pretty quick, so they better be paying attention to what's coming behind them. Or sorry, the Cs, excuse me.
Yeah, you got a pack of 12 strong C's just about to pick off the back 3 or so.
It looks like those back 3 Ds are starting to power up a bit, and maybe trying to see if they can catch a ride with the Cs to get back up.
Okay, the Bs have just hit the Aqueduct.
This is looking a little more aggressive than the Cs.
10 watts a kilo through the
Yeah.
steep part for you.
Ouch.
I still maintain the only way through this is all out. So
The C's are blowing through the Bs, but Paul managed to power up and catch on with them, so maybe let's see how this works.
Yeah, I see a couple that are mixed in.
yeah,
I'm not sure. Not all of them did. A couple of them for sure. I see 1, 2, maybe 4 of the Ds have grabbed on.
I think it's at least 2.
I think it's
3. It's 3. Yeah.
at least
3.
At least 3. It could be 4. I mean, it's hard to tell.
I think there might be a 4th. I think you might be right.
Yeah, there's a 4th.
But again, they are just catching on at the bottom here of the KOM, and it's how long can they kind of hold on. Again, if the C's again just hit the bottom slopes pretty easy, then they'll definitely get a nice little gap between the rest of the D's. If some C's decide to attack, then it could be blown up pretty quickly again.
So Bobby tailgunned the sprint in the A's for Pavé. Looks like 3rd fastest time for Bobby on the 2nd sprint, I think.
So in the Bs, that KOM, as it always does, there's riders strung all the way out as they're coming back down. There were 2 main groups. Alan is actually had the 9th fastest time, but is now dangling off the back with one other rider in 16th, 3 seconds behind the main group. It'll be interesting to see whether they're able to get back on the group for the KOM, or if this is race done, or at least saying goodbye to the front of the pack here.
You know what?
The D, but
No, so I'd say as far as Alan goes, I think the option is either to sprint right now and try and make up that 3 seconds, or to try and make up the 3 seconds on. Well, it'll probably be 10 seconds by the time you get to the climb, but try and make that time up on the climb. I think those are your 2 options. And where the climb is scored, I might lean towards exactly what he's doing. Where his partner is pulling pretty good. So just catch as much of a rut. Yeah, sit in that draft and then pound the climb.
Hope that the group in front lays off a bit.
Yeah.
And they're back to 2 seconds, so
looks like the D's had a choice to make. How much of their matches do they burn on this first climb, knowing there's a whole second lap to go, and it looks like they've let the C's take off on them. They hung for a while and tried to stick as long as they could, but I think they realized that discretion may be the better part of valor here.
Yeah, there is a couple of C's in between the 2 D groups. So again, if those D's kind of hang with that secondary C group, and again, they're going to get some gap for sure from the rest of the D field. It just
one of them just went through, and Paul is in the first lead, and he couldn't hang with him, and the second one's coming through now. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to stick.
Okay, so the A's are on the Aqueduct. Bobby is going pretty hard. I mean, it's going pretty hard. It doesn't look quite as all out as the... there's a little bit of leaving something to the line here, I think. Not quite as all out as the B's were. And it does look like a good time for Bobby. 37. Yeah, my timing's all messed up here, but I think that's about the third or fourth fastest time. Just on trying to pick who's in what on the leaderboard there.
Yeah, you're getting the full leaderboard in that one, huh?
Yeah. Never quite sure why.
But yeah, the fastest B time was about 33.
Yeah.
And it is the fastest time on that.
It is, yeah. 32.9, which is pretty fast, but
not crazy.
No, I would say I've come second in HSRL on that prime faster, so
yeah.
So the C's have kicked up for sure on this climb. They're about halfway up the climb, and they're already all over the place. There's a group maybe of about 6-7 riders out front, and then they're all scattered on the hill behind in small groups. Dennis and Jamie have got kicked out of this front group, and are 28 seconds behind. There's a few others that have just kind of passed there. So there's definitely been a big acceleration that's going to split the C field wide open. For now, at least on this climb.
Yeah. In the Bs, Alan was able to regain contact with the front group, and he's started the climb with them in the draft, which really helps on this climb. That first third of the climb or so before you start hitting the hairpins is actually really shallow. So the draft matters a lot.
In the D race, Paul finds himself pulling D. Mitchell along. Those two have got about an 11-second gap on the next rider, 20 back to another rider, and then about 30 back to two more. Some C's pulling through him, so I wonder if he can catch on with them and get rid of some of the more people. But he's doing a nice job. He's spent a lot of time in the wind, unfortunately, but
yeah,
time
in the wind doesn't matter as much when you're going up at a 7%
right. True that.
So we got the C's are now just hitting that cobbled section. So again, pretty close to the top of the climb here. Terry's doing a great climb. Is up at the front, and again, here it goes to 5%, 7%, 8%. So this is for sure is where the attack's going to happen. There is somebody going out the front right now, pretty aggressively. I don't think anyone's as of yet able to match. We got Terry is pushing now. The guy couldn't hold it, so it was a big attack, and he couldn't hold it. So they are coming back. I believe Terry's in third right now. We got John Dury and a Frank Kratzer out front, who have just gone through the banner. Oh, Terry kind of backed off a little bit at the top there, and has actually got caught by a couple people coming through. So he's gone over on 6. I don't know if he just ran out of energy there, or if he kind of relaxed a little bit because the front two had got a gap and kind of got lost a few places there at the end. But his watts kind of really dropped.
Unfortunately for Paul, his partner, D. Mitchell, managed to stay with the C's for a while and got about a 14-second gap. So Paul's going to have some work to do to catch back up on. they just hit the cobbles.
And that little drop in there in power for if it was just a little bit of tiredness or a little just moment of switched off. So now going to cost Terry because now there's a couple-second gap here on the downhill, which is definitely not the place to lose that group because he's going to be in no man's land here for that next sprint. Which is the worst place to be, I think. It's you got to kind of. So there's no one there behind them, so you can't even sit up and just coast and kind of get that draft effect. The group in front have just gone past them and just kept the pace on up over that little dip before the decline, and then they're now a good 5-6+ seconds ahead, and he's just in that no man's land, unfortunately.
Front D's are just getting close to the last turn before the banner here. So Paul's going to the top in second place, it looks like. He did PR the climb, so good job for him. 8:41. But he's got about a 30-second gap to D. Mitchell, who got some help from the C's. So he's got to see if he can manage to catch up somehow.
So Alan and the Bees was able to stick with the group basically until the hairpins started. Pretty good for having fallen off back the Aqueduct and had to chase back on. He's hitting he just came around the cobbles in front of the, let's call it a chateau, and is coming up toward that last couple of hairpins. Has lost probably close to 30 seconds on the front bunch, maybe a bit more, but is still looking good. Might be able to catch on with, he's just 13 seconds behind a little group of bees, so seems unlikely to be able to catch on with that group, but there will be other riders around to roll around with for the rest of the race.
Yeah, so after this first climb, there's going to be riders everywhere. Yeah, be interesting to see whether Dennis and Jamie can pick up on a group coming through or not. I guess the Bees look like they're 2 or 3 minutes behind, so it might be a bit before they see them.
Yeah, they'll catch them between the two sprints for sure. I think the bigger groups are just gonna pull through. We got the C's right now. There's 5 in the front group, just about to hit the sprint. Good for the ones behind. It looks as though one's actually only sprinting, just Guy DeBell. So Frank's kind of kicking a little bit late to get some, but he definitely didn't go all the way. So riders behind. It's one of those things in races like this. It's, even if you get drops, sometimes it's not always that lead group. It's got riders that are actually doing the prime. So you've got to give your best effort and kind of claw it back.
Well, that's a pretty good sprint from Terry there too. I just had the camera on, so.
Yeah, I mean he closed the gap. He's closed that gap a little. But again, unfortunately, he's as I said, he's in that no man's land. He did so well on the climb and then just kind of got cut loose from that lead group, and now there's looks to be like a 30-second gap between who's back, and then it's a 17-second gap increasing in front of him.
Paul had another D rider come by him. He tried really hard to catch him, but unfortunately he didn't get on the wheel. So he's now third. Gave it a good effort. Just couldn't get there. That's a real sinking feeling.
Yeah, I'd never like to see that. But yeah, if somebody's coming up with speed, it's really hard. So Bobby Edwards in the A's in the climb, coming up to the last switchback. So there's a couple riders off the front, I think. Bobby's just used his feather, going hard to try and get going hard at the line here. I think he's got around second or third. I don't have the leaderboard, so not gonna be able to tell. But his time was faster than some of the guys that came with him there. So very good job. There is still a pretty good group of I think it's about 5 or 6 A's, and they're over the top and onto the descent.
So I'm just taking a look at Terry and the C's. When you mentioned it a minute ago, you said he was at 17 seconds, and I just wanted to see, you would think in this flatter area, if they really calmed down after the sprint and he had gone, hard and put in a good effort, he might be able to close that. Except the front of that C group is also just kicking each other. They're doing 4 watts a kilo at the front, just through the flats here, trying to create some little gaps. There's guys kind of like the A's earlier. A couple people hanging off the front of that group is causing some pushing at the front. So that gap has gone out to almost 40 seconds.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations that it's like everyone was saying, it's a flat course, and it's if you are not in that group, it can just gets wider and wider. I mean, there will be groups that I think come through and kind of pick them up, but I think I caught the end of his sprint there, and I think he kind of pushed hard, and the front group they didn't all. So I mean, he's still. Even though he's on 6 on the road, I still think if he keeps hitting these segments and kind of finds a nice group for the Pavé Sprint, then he'll be okay.
The group of B's is coming through Paul, and he's trying to see if he can get caught on. It looks like he might get a little bit of a tow here. Nice job.
I mean, we got the front of the B's right now at 25. So I mean. They're not far behind some of these C's, and they're going to slowly start picking them off. I think Jamie's group's 1 minute in front, so...
Yeah, that's the group that Paul's got himself hung on to, for at least for the minute.
Yeah, and he doesn't need to stay on that group all day. If he just gets a tow up to the D, up to or past the D leaders. But, I mean, they're going through pretty relaxed. It's a pretty sizable group with good draft. He can probably stay on these guys until either they accelerate, or it goes uphill.
Yeah, he's got about a 3-second gap to the second place D and about a 22-second gap to the first place D. So he could easily get up to them and then maybe make a race out of it. Good piece of racecraft.
And this is, I guess, I have been in races where people have gotten upset about this kind of thing. For the herd point series, this is absolutely in play. It's the reason we have the groups start in reverse orders, because we expect this to happen. And it's just another little bit of fun.
It adds so much, strategy and tactics and fun. Exactly, fun is the real point, right? Paul's doing a nice job of hanging with this group. He's definitely making up time.
And that looked like a pretty good sprint by Bobby the second time through Marina, but I think at least one of the ATP riders was faster, figured out that it was a points race and sprinted this time, where I think Bobby was the only one who did first time.
Minor side note, Paul Lutman just completed his weekly distance goal, so good for him on that one. I always say, set modest goals. That way you achieve them and feel good about yourself.
Yeah, that's what they always used to tell me when I achieved my distance goal during the Thursday TTT.
In my case, it would be #blame Sean.
So there you go. The C's, the second group of C's have come back together. So there's like a group of 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 6 or 7. There might be an odd D or so in there as well. My screen at the side's a little bit wonky right now, but there looks to be a decent group there. And again, it's a few of them, if they work together and kind of push through, then they'll slowly start closing that gap, or have a nice little draft for the next sprint.
So Dennis and Jamie are with I think it's Chuck Hobble of ATP. So they've got a trio going there. Quartet. I guess there's a D Stoles who just caught back up to them, who had been a little bit off the back. Anyway, they're riding along, and Jamie has a quartet of jerseys she's hauling along there.
Not going to help her watts per kilo.
No.
As expected, Paul rode that group of Bs right back up, and now the front 3 Ds are together again, and you'll be head to head whenever the Bs decide to ride off.
Well, I mean, some of it's if these guys all stay together up to Pavé Sprint, it's going to be who manages to ride the B group the best to get the best draft. So.
Now we're in the flat doldrums part of this course.
Yep, and right around here is where, if there was a group of ATP riders, I'd expect them to attack for no particular reason.
Because they can.
They do, and it's not necessarily right here. I think it's a couple kilometers down the road, but I've not figured out why so many ATP riders do it, but if there's 3 or more of them, they'll try a dig right here to thin the group.
Talking of ATP, just flicking back to the front of the race of the C's, Guy Debelle is being dropped from that lead group. I know watching it a little bit earlier, they were all trying to attack each other a little bit just to get to there, and it's either Guy just didn't want to go along with that, or he just kind of got caught out and is now in 5th place and kind of in between 2 groups. And again, it even looks as though they're a little bit strong out the front, so they're definitely trying to push the pace here and which some riders do. I mean, again, not all riders take it purely for sitting up between. You sometimes do get these lead groups, especially in the C's, that just like to keep pushing the pace and race it as a pure race.
Yeah.
But usually tends to be that they're not pushing for those segments, so it sometimes isn't favourable for them to do so.
Yeah, with the point spread now, I think it's hard to be all the way off the back in a sizable field and get enough points to win, but you can definitely move up quite a lot of places.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, this is kind of an interesting question. If you're a person, a rider who doesn't have a huge sprint, so you struggle in the group sprints, what is your best tactic to try and get some points? Is it to try to make, hold on and make up a bunch of places at the end, get more finish points, or try to hit some of the sprints and see if you can, someone gets me to drag you? How do you approach that if you're not a Sprintosaurus?
I would say make it hard before the sprint, and then banner attack right after a sprint. You'll take quite a bit out of the legs of the guys who can sprint. Probably lose a bunch of sprinters, and to me that's if you're completely outmatched on the sprint, I mean,
ideally,
first off, I'd say sprint as best you can, take advantage of draft, and you don't need to be the biggest sprinter to win the sprint. But if you are completely outmatched, and it's put in your sprint not where the sprint is, make people bridge gaps, and then the banner attack is the big one.
And I assume it would be helpful to have some teammates maybe coordinating with you who are similar, that you can kind of make it stick, get a little bit of draft going, and kind of TTT it a bit.
Oh, definitely. But even just the banner, attacking through the banner and keeping on the power as you pass the guys that really hit the prime hard. Some of them won't be able to catch on. And Alan, I mean, that's why he said I wasn't trying on that first sprint. He was dropped right after the first sprint on a previous race on that sprint. So, it's easy to happen if you really empty the tank on a sprint to get dropped.
Yeah. So, and that's especially the case of if you have a big sprint, you can actually dig yourself a very deep hole, a deep anaerobic hole where people going by you don't have it in you to even try to get on the wheel because you just emptied the tank.
So back in the D race, the Bs have finally moved off, and the three lead Ds are back together again. Paul's with them, so now a 3-person race amongst those three to figure out who can get to the end first. And score some points along the way, of course.
So we got a guy out front here in the C's who's holding 3.8, 3.9, so I'm not quite sure here if he is a true C.
That doesn't sound like a C to me.
I mean, he's attacked the group and is doing a big dig and actually holding it, so I mean, again, if he's only done group rides and then he's decided to step up and do a race, then I don't know. I mean, Zwift's always an evolving door. There's people you kind of forget, but there's people that are always new to it.
Yeah, he's also not on Zwift Power.
There we go.
I was about to ask that question.
So yeah, there we go. He's now doing 4s. He's now doing 5 watts a kilo, 4.6, 4.8. So, I mean, the guys have figured it out, I think, because he was attacking so many times and probably realized that
let him go
and ride his own race, because if he's not on Zwift Power, then it really doesn't matter.
He doesn't actually exist. He's a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 14-second lead, and then there's a group of 3 behind him, and then guys 30 seconds now off that. And then the chase packs are slowly kind of closing in, so some of those kind of chase riders might get back onto this group, and if the Bs kind of come through after the Aqueduct, then, or on that top section of the Aqueduct, then they'll get a nice little toe back towards it.
So it does look like so the lead Bs are 30 seconds behind Dennis and Jamie's group right now. So then it's another minute ahead of them to Terry, another minute for Guy. So yeah, that's going to be interesting with the Bs coming through.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's not in Zwift firing, so it's kind of a mute point, but the leader just didn't even sprint through that section, so
yeah,
he's kind of in a race of his own here.
So it looks like the A's are only about 300 meters behind Alan right now.
I was just going to say, they're going to be sweeping him up, and if he can stick in with them, then he's got a nice group to hit at least the Pavé Sprint with.
Well, and even the Aqueduct. I mean, that's still...
If he can stick in there, yeah.
Well, even if you get a toe into it and up the first half, it's helpful. You're going fast enough that there's definitely draft effect.
I mean, even Jamie and Chuck and Dennis are going to have that with the Bs as well.
Yep. And yeah, we'll just have to see whether it looks like they're kind of slowing down a bit
to try and beforehand. Yeah,
to try and get caught before the sprint, which is not a bad idea.
So Terry's just hit the sprint now and just done a big sprint. So again, I mean, he's sixth place on the road right now, but he's been hitting these primes really well, so he's got a crack at the top three for sure still. I mean, especially with that leader not on Zwift power, and then the others not really hitting the primes. I mean, okay, yes, they're ahead of him, but this is a big group of people that are actually going for these segments, so it does surprise you how much small league groups actually just don't get much points.
Well, and it does depend how many people finish the race. So if there's a lead group of 4 who aren't really hitting the sprints much, you're knocking 12 points off. If there's only one guy behind beating them all on all the primes, he's only knocking a few points off them. So it's funny, this battle between the guys that ride purely for for position and the guys who are riding purely for segment times.
Well, especially this one, you've got so many segments that in a large group, that if there's a large group of people going for them, even again, further back down the race, they're still, I mean, Jamie's group's still going to be going for it, Dennis' group's still going to be going for it, even though they're so far back that they're going to take points away from these lead riders who are just kind of cruising through the segments.
Yeah.
At this point, Dennis is mostly cruising. He's just gotten popped off the group of C's, and then these B's just flying past.
Yep. See if he can hang on. There's another couple B's here. Doesn't look like he's trying, though. Looks like he's throwing in the towel a little bit. I think he's going purely for segment times at this point.
The Paul's trio,
probably not a bad call. Where the next C behind them
He's got that KOM. Yep.
Over a minute behind. Yeah.
Jamie Bramwell, though, did a really nice job going through that sprint and might just be able to latch onto these bees coming through.
Well, it looks like she has. I might jump up to her
here. They've gone pretty much straight past as well. Yeah, I feel like this group of C's is pretty toast.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. Jamie's hitting this hard, trying to get back on. So Chuck Hobble is going hard, and Jamie doesn't want to let him go. So good on her. The A's are hitting the Pavé Sprint. Bobby's got a draft truck. He let the first couple guys go first. Oh, nice sprint. Good power. And I think Bobby's going to get the fastest time on this one. That's a terrific sprint by Bobby.
And they are just now catching Allen.
Yeah.
So if he can get on while all of them are... They're going to be moving here quickly, but they are easing up. And he does have the watts in the tank to get on that on that group.
I would think so, yeah. There we go. Yep. Looks like he's trying to do that. He's right there, riding right with Bobby. So. Okay, Jamie is there. She's ramped it up now. Using a feather and going hard on the Aqueduct. Come on. I do think a lot of riders are not really fully taking advantage of hitting the start line of the Aqueduct at speed. I think there's a lot of gain to be had there, but
it looks like she did do a good job of, if she didn't have it to catch on to those bees and keep that power on, at least she did save something for the segment.
Yeah.
And did a really nice time on that segment.
I mean, as you'd expect, not improving on lap one time, but yeah, I think looked like she had a pretty good time there.
The lead D's are just coming up to the Aqueduct again, and it's starting as the road tilted up. It started to spread them out. The C came through briefly, and a couple guys got a little bit of a draft, but they're Paul's in third again at this point, and plugging along. But the guys that got in front of him got a little bit of a head start, so now Paul's got to catch him.
Yeah. So Allen and the A's are going to come flying through Paul here in just a second. So if he can accelerate early here, yeah, he's got a draft truck. This could work out real nice for him. On. Yeah.
The first day went through. Come on, Paul. Stand on it.
I mean, these guys are going to be flying, but...
Yeah. Allen was on Bobby's wheel, and...
now he's not.
Basically at the back of that of those A's, and now he is not. Correct.
But Allen did go flying past the two lead Ds. Actually, wait, no. Two of the three. There's one up the road still.
Yep.
And Strikey, he's got about a 12-second gap up the road.
Looks like Bobby was second or third on that one, I think. But another good performance for him on the segment.
So I think this is always an interesting one here as well. Is the group of, I'm calling the lead C's now, with that one guy at front. You've got three in that kind of main group, and then you've got four here behind. Is you can kind of just ride easy if you know what I mean, and just race who you have around you. You've got such a gap, but again, this might actually play into the chasers' kind of hands here for the points, because again, if they keep pushing, kind of know that if they're closing that gap down just even by 5-10 seconds, that they're going to get that faster time segment. And could really make the difference at the end here.
Well, Jamie is very much racing for position here. So Stoles here just went past, and she put on a pretty sizable dig to get right onto his wheel. So well done.
Nicely done. And the Bs are 43 seconds behind this group as well. So on the lower sections, there is that kind of flatter section. So these Cs could get a little bit of a boost just for, I don't know, half this climb and then do their own race afterwards when obviously the Bs attack. But it depends on how the Bs play this climb, if they're going to attack early at the bottom or if they're just going to be a steady climb at the start where it is very draftable and then hit it hard where it kind of kicks up.
Yeah. I mean, unless you are really strong, it usually doesn't pay to be the guy attacking on that bottom section.
No. There's too many draftable sections.
Yeah.
So that's that second group of Cs just hitting the KOM now.
Yeah, and there's a group of 4 of them. They may be able to do a pretty good time up this.
Yeah, I mean they're 120, roughly 120 right now behind Guy Devel, and then 157 behind that next group. So I'm gonna kind of keep a close eye on those times to see, even if they come down by a couple seconds, that that's enough.
I think there's a C back here mixed in with the Ds who's just going for the segments because literally he was stopped at the side of the road in between the segments. He pounded the Aqueduct, and I think he stopped to rest before he takes on the Petit KOM.
That is a strategy.
Look, he's kind of been dropped by the rest of the C race, so I don't know what else he can do at this point, but he's not going to get good finishing points.
So there you go already. There's they've taken 8 seconds out of Guy Debel just because there's 4 of them drafting over one person. So that gap to the next group's kind of holding, but again, it could all come down. So if Terry kind of keeps it going here, I think he's in a really good situation. I mean, again, there's 5 of them here now. Somebody else that was just behind just caught on. So. And then I see the Bees 10 seconds back doing some crazy numbers already on the bottom.
But if they're able to hit the latch onto them for even a few seconds, that's also going to help on their times.
Well,
like Terry might have it.
Yeah, he kind of kicked past, and he's maybe seeing those Bees kind of coming. I mean, this is the section right now you kind of want to be caught because it's these next 2 kind of switchbacks are the flatter sections, so.
Rather have someone to be with.
It's going to get very busy right now. I mean, there's 2 ahead. Terry's just latching on and got quite good speed, but here come that B group, and it's let's see if any of these C's just even get a little bit of a kick, which is definitely going to help close that gap down. I mean, nope. None of them were interested. They just let the Bees go straight past. I mean, it is the same
feeling.
And saying that, Terry did kick onto a guy who was a straggler behind that B group and is now definitely. Oh, he's going to try for it now. So maybe he has realized that there's one guy chasing that pack, and he's managed to at least get on his tail and put some damage in between the rest of the C's.
Well, Ali's a strong rider, so yeah, that's why. Yeah, he's got one of the jerseys here. So no, this is having
Yeah, Ali just did a little kick that Terry couldn't match, but there is still some Bs coming through here. That again, he's got a little bit of gap on those Cs. If he just even grabs one B guy for this next kind of flat section, he'll get a nice little toe. He does have a 30-meter gap on the next C, so he's still putting a good climb in. And he's closed a bit of time on the guys in front as well, just because of those Bs. So he could have quite a quick time on this KOM here and kind of catapult up the points.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, he's got to go for every second he can on the KOM, and then he's got to figure out how he maximizes his position for the finish line too. Because you don't want to think about it yet, but as soon as you start getting to the last switchback, it's okay. Start looking for who you're going to descend with.
Yeah, and there's almost that danger depending on where these groups behind come. Again, it looks as though there might be three behind them. That again, if they just get a little bit extra speed going over the top, but again, he is trying to kick a little bit and grab onto some of the Bs still coming through. But momentum is huge on that downhill section, and you can easily just have a bigger group go past you. Although
Terry is a really punchy rider. I think he does have the ability to catch on to a group like that, but it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing all right. I mean, he's got a 8-second lead now, so he's definitely going to put a really solid time for the C's here. I mean, this could be. Don't think it'd be the fastest. It could actually be, because I think this might be the fastest C. If he keeps it up, this might be the fastest C time on this lap. So,
yeah, I think he's going to be close.
Although he has just got past, so he is kind of hurting a little bit. And there is one C rider now doing 4 watts a kilo, so he's just got to keep going now.
No, so the guy doing 4 in that group is the leader of the A's. So he might end up with an A for company here on the downhill, which would probably be perfect.
I do see a Westhope that's just gone past him, who's shown up in mine as a C. So,
oh yeah, that is Westhorpe. You're right.
Who's just putting out, and even David Kane now has recovered. So I mean, there's this climb for you. It's longer than you think it is. You may kind of have a good lower section, but if you can't keep it up and just others get a little bit of a kick at the top, then the seconds can come crashing down.
So he's got the two corners left.
I mean, he's now realized that he's got to put a dig in his closing back time. So I don't know if it's just a recovery and just he's found that second wind because people have gone past him. But it's a nasty little finish to a climb for sure.
Oh, very much.
And when you're 43 kilometers in and over an hour racing, it's not easy.
Yeah. And it looks like Bobby is sitting with Saunders from ATP. It looks like they're sitting there 3rd and 4th in the A's, and 5th is right behind them. So,
Paul is still chugging up the hill in the D race. He's still in 3rd. He's got about a 19-second gap up to D Mitchell. Looks like he's trying to get caught on to Dennis Wade. Maybe Dennis can give him a little help. It looks like Dennis is kind of struggling too. I'd be struggling if I was on this course at this point, which is why I didn't race it.
So Terry has one friend here, and they've got 2 singles in front of them. So if they can work together, I think they've got a chance to catch those 2. Just gonna jump back to. Oh, I was looking for. Oh, what has happened here? There we go. Oh. I was just looking for Jamie Bramwell. So they're just about to the top of the climb. She's still with Chuck Hubble and Dee Stoltz. So there's still, 3 of that.
Nice.
3 of that group of 4 are still right together. So I want to see there's a pretty big dig from Jamie trying to rush into the line. It really depends on how they cross the start, her and Chuck. But they crossed 2 seconds ahead of Stolz. So assuming they started together, which I think they did, that should be it. And off they go down the hill.
So Terry's put in a good effort on that downhill. He's now only 4 seconds behind David Kane. So they could all be kind of coming back here and fighting for like 7th position on the road.
They might even be able to make it back to Westhorpe.
Might be. I mean, it depends how hard they push. I mean, it's
with 3 of them going down that hill.
There is that steep little section that they're all going to hit, and it's just momentum-wise. There we go. 8 seconds now. I mean, all of a sudden, because they're about to make the chase on catch on one person, they increase it, and they're about to hit the momentum going down this steeper section. I mean, it's a long downhill.
Well, the downhill's almost over, but they will have more speed coming into the flat here. It's gonna be close at the finish. I mean, this is the group of 3 can absolutely close that.
I'm just saying, in general, it's a long downhill, and it's if you switch off for just that little moment, then momentum can kind of get away from you.
I know personally in this situation, I would be thinking about trying to bridge, try and use the sprint now, get up there, and work with the guy ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 seconds. It's going to be tight. I mean, the guy in front's just about to hit that cobble section in 4 seconds now. It's all about how much of a sprint he has, and if this group behind goes a little bit early on the sprint, although he has just gone early.
Very early, yeah.
He realizes they're coming for him.
Yep.
That was maybe a dig of, okay, I've got to go now, but again, if he's only holding 4s and this group behind him can find a big kick, then
I think maybe it's probably too late now. I think he's got it.
Yeah, he's 6 seconds now. He did enough just to get momentum back in his favor. But
Terry
again,
needs to go now, though. Oh, but go sharp first. Break the draft. Don't speed them up for them. But I think he's just got the power.
David's coming close. 5 meters, 4 meters, 3. Oh, just.
Wow.
I think Terry hung on. Yeah.
Yeah, David had a really nice dig there, and he's a strong sprinter as well.
So Bobby in the A's is coming in. I think he's pretty solidly in 4th. So I don't think there's going to be much of a sprint there. Okay, I'm just going to go forward from Alan for a second and see Jamie and Chuck what they do here. They did maintain their gap on Stoles. Jamie does have the trail position. Getting close to when to go here. I'd have already started ramping up, but this is way shorter than you think it is. Oh, Hobble started ramping up. He's only 4.8-ish. Okay, Jamie's going now. 9.8. She's gonna go past. Yep. Is he gonna be able to come back at her? I don't think so.
No.
Great sprint.
Yeah. They both wanted to leave it late, and yeah, Jamie was able to come over the top first. So good job. Okay, so I'm just gonna in and focus on Paul as he finishes off here. And I appear to have lost. I've lost Alan, but we'll watch Paul finish off his race here.
Yeah, Alan's just coming into the finish now, coming through the Marina Sprint, and we'll be finishing in 13th, it looks like.
It looks like Dennis did catch up to somebody in the seas there. He's looks like same time with a Japanese rider.
Yeah, good luck pronouncing that name.
I wasn't even going to attempt it.
I was looking at it, I'm like going, is Craig going to even attempt it? Because
we should have had a pool.
But I mean, that guy's pushing, and Dennis is just sitting these toes. So,
yep.
I mean, it's a battle for 14th, 15th position, and again, Dennis, who's got something left, he's got a nice, solid sprint on him. So,
well, and it is 4 points per place at the end. So, yeah, these sprints for 12th and 13th or whatever they are, they matter in the. That's the same as beating somebody by 4 points in one of the other sprints. So.
For sure. I mean, there's two strategies here for sure. You're either sitting the guy's wheel and then just gonna go over the top, or you can attack early and hope they don't catch on to you.
Or you just take a look at Zwift Power and realize the other guy that you're with is not on Zwift Power.
Or you do that, yeah.
That doesn't sound like fun at all.
I mean, I hope in the future that kind of, I don't know, that gets fixed, because it's good and it's bad in one ways that, depending on who you're racing, there could be 5-6 riders that are not really in the official results.
Yeah, I to me it's mostly bad. Yeah, but I guess not a lot you can do about it.
No.
But yes, tighter integration.